hold this hearing, to chair this hearing. This is in his committee, and he and his committee adopted these rules of procedure, so I think we might move a little quicker if we allow him to do that.
All right.
Okay, first thing we need to do is adopt our rules for procedure. We came up with these rules so we can expedite this case.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded. We adopt the rules for procedure of this hearing. Is there any discussion on that motion? If not, please vote. All right, before we begin, I just want to explain to those of you who haven't been through this before, remind you a little bit that this is an unusual thing because basically we sit and we hear the evidence and we make a determination based on the evidence of the claims made. So in effect, we sit as judge and jury all in one. So I remind you to make your questions pointed and direct. Keep your personal views, feelings, opinions, and commentaries out of it because basically what we're interested in is getting the facts and hopefully making an informed decision. Take each case one at a time and allow the Sheriff's Office to make its case and the other party for its time for its rebuttal. Let me see a show of hands of all who you are here, business owners for this hearing today.
Person.
Ron Michaud on behalf of the relay station.
Is anyone else represented by counsel? Okay, at this time we're going to go ahead and hear the relay station first. So we're going to have mercy on this citizen because Mr. Michaud's meter's probably running out of control like in the month of August. Since you refused to split his fee with me, let him get out of the way. At this time we need the Sheriff's Office to come and present whatever they would like to in regards to the relay station. Two of them there. Pardon me? Two of them. Need to get a copy of it. If they need it.
Because it got in the dark. Because it got what?
I had asked Mr. Hopkins to make those available. Were there copies of the rules, the procedure available for...
They have been passed to each one of the business owners that are
Okay.
here today, and the Sheriff's Department has a copy.
Okay, we'll go ahead with all the Sheriff's Department employees that are going to speak. The four of you, if you'd stand up, and we'll get you sworn in because this is testimony, please.
Why don't you swear?
Yes, go ahead and swear. Everybody here that plans on speaking in any form or fashion.
Full swear.
Full swear. But we get it done. Everybody? Full swear. Okay. Please raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Very good. Thank you. Please proceed. The Sheriff's Department first. Yes.
I understand. Just for the purposes of the record, I visited with Mr. Hall and the other deputies outside. As far as the relay station is concerned, we're going to stipulate that as to the evidence and the violations, and we're not crime lab certificates or anything of that nature. We're not raising any of those objections. So we're going to allow them to proceed, testify without any objection, introduce whatever they need to introduce, and then we'll present our case. But as far as evidentiary problems, we have none. We're going to stipulate that the two violations occurred.
Very well. Thank you. Deputy? Name and address, or name, please.
Samuel S. Hall, Caddo Sheriff's Office, Youth Services Division. Thank you, members, for allowing us to be here. There was two relay stations that were involved, and I'm not sure which one that you wanted to start with because we had two all.
Michota, which one are we talking about? What location?
LA1.
Greenwood? LA1. LA1. Very good.
Good evening. Latienda Pierre, Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office, Youth Services. Deputy.
Pull that microphone down just a little bit. Thank you.
Can you hear me now? All right. I was responsible for going through the Highway 1 relay station. What I saw that night was I was with the CI, and the CI went into the store, and about less than a minute later, I entered in the store behind the CI. I made sure that I positioned myself to see the clerk as well as the CI and see if a transaction would take place in which the clerk would allow the CI to purchase alcohol. The clerk did not look at the CI's ID. which on the ID is specifically said under 21 until this certain date. The clerk did not look at any type of identification before selling the CI a 24-ounce beer. And we exited the store and proceeded with writing a summons and sending the deputy to issue the summons.
You have anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Mr. Machota, do you have anything at this time?
I would not. I'd like to just confine mine after the second one, give my version of the events, if I may.
Okay.
That's okay?
That's fine. I mean, they have nothing else to say, so I guess we're into the rebuttal stage because we may have a couple of questions, but we're going to move on pretty fast, so.
Well, I'll go ahead.
Yeah,
I don't have any questions of this witness. Is that
No,
what you're
okay,
asking?
no, but you have any statement to make to this body?
Sure. I've got some documents here that I've given to the clerk, and what it is our manual for employees. It is our manual telling them how to check IDs and things of that nature. And then there's an agreement where we terminate them if they violate the law. And we wanted y'all to have a copy of that so you understand all the steps that the relay station takes in training their employees. You know, they go through the responsible vendors program. In one of these cases, 2 days later, the clerk violated the law after attending the class. 2 days later. So our point is, it's hard to control the clerks. I visited with Mr. Hall outside, and he said, well, you know, pay more money, hire better people. Well, we try to do that. We hire the best we can possibly hire. We train them the best way we can. We send them to all the classes. But let me tell you what how our system works. And I'll tell you how we're remedying the problem. If there's a beverage that's going to be sold of an alcoholic nature, the cash register immediately pops up. The sale cannot go through unless it says enter the birth date, or the sale's not going to go through. So what we're finding is the clerks are making a conscious decision to put a bad date in the register. How do we prevent that? We can't prevent it. I told Mr. Hall outside, if he'll give me the 2 specific dates and times, we can go back and find out what date the clerk put in. We think they probably put their own birth date, which would have put them over 21, so we don't know how to stop that. So what Mr. Childress, who was a retired Shreveport police officer who now works at the relay station, he's put in a new policy that has every sales or every transaction dealing with alcohol, the manager comes over and okays it and double checks it to make sure that the birth date's been entered properly and that they have a proper ID. But that's all we can do. I don't know what the answer to the question is. It's as good as the employee who's inputting the information. And for those reasons, we think it's beyond our control, other than hiring better employees. But we don't know that when we hire them. We try to hire law-abiding citizens. But obviously, they're making an intentional effort to put a fake date in there. The transaction will not go through unless the date is over 21 years old. And that's our answer to the problem. We don't know what, and if y'all have a suggestion, we're open to any suggestions. And any questions, and I have 2 representatives from here from the relay station, will be more than glad to answer any questions of y'all.
Does anyone have any questions at this time?
Hang on a second.
Hang on. Commissioner Cox?
We had a case, I think, last year where the owner, we basically told them, I think it was up in Vivian, where there's a machine where they take their driver's license and swipe it, and it automatically registers.
Correct.
I mean, they cost a little bit more money, but that'll
We have that. We have that.
Ours does that.
Ours does that. But here's what the problem was. In this particular case, I don't think they swiped the driver's license, but it still stopped the transaction because you still have to put the birth date in. So it's a double,
You can
check 'em.
override, manually enter the data in case that you don't get a scan. You
That's
can have
correct.
a card that may not scan like a credit card or something.
That's correct. And so somebody manually on these two cases put in a birth date above 21.
Mr. Cox, anything else? Mr. Dominic?
Well, that was kind of the thing I was going to say too, and then the next thing I noticed in this ordinance that we passed back in 2011, I believe it says that every store owner is supposed to have a notice posted, this ordinance posted. Every retail dealer shall post in a prominent place, clearly visible to all, a copy of Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo. Has the relay station done that, Mr. Ron, or do you know?
I'm not sure, Mr. Dominic.
I don't know that we have or we haven't. Come on up here. I know that it says that, so that may be one thing that y'all want to do. I mean, the ordinance does say that.
Absolutely, we will. This is the first I was aware of that, and I'll take it and post it tonight. if that's
Was
cool.
did y'all ever get a letter from anybody, about this ordinance or anything that you know of?
No, sir.
Step up here, Jack.
Jack's our compliance officer with all this.
When we get a license from the state, if they have anything that they want us to post, it comes with our renewal packet. My name's Jack Rothell, 2412 Cherryville, Shreveport. It comes with a renewal packet.
And let us get your name, please, again?
Richard Childers.
Richard Childers. Thank you.
So you're saying y'all don't have the ordinance posted, but
We
you
were
really...
not aware of the ordinance
Okay.
until I got it from Todd Hopkins. The part about it being posted.
Right. But y'all going to take care of that?
Absolutely.
We probably didn't do a real good job about getting public information out after that ordinance was
And
passed
a
either.
simple solution is to do it with your renewal packets that Miss Joanne Washington does upstairs.
Yeah, but despite the posting of the ordinance, as Mr. Michaud indicated, these employees are trained, they know better. It sounds like you have some, they intentionally acted to do this,
Yes, sir.
Is that all, Mr. Dominic?
Right now, yes.
Ms. Lynch?
Let me ask, is this the first offense for this location?
It is,
Okay,
to my knowledge.
all righty. Do you all have a printout of what dates they're putting in to,
No, that's what I was telling Mr. Hall out in the hallway. If I knew the exact dates and times, we could find out what date these two employees put in the computer to override it.
Okay, but there's not anything that automatically prints out or captures that, a report or anything that...
I don't think so. We can go back to the tapes and find out when it was done, and that's what Mr. Childers and I discussed last week. And so what I'm going to ask Mr. Hall today when we leave here, if it's not too much trouble, to give me the exact time, and we can find it on the tape.
Okay, what happened to the clerk in this case?
Fired.
Okay. Thank you. I did have a question for you, ma'am. What's a CI? I'm sorry.
That's the
Confidential informant.
the confidential information.
Thank you.
Yes.
Person went in to make a buy.
Oh, okay. I just found out the other day BTW means by the way on Facebook, so I'm getting it. Getting it. I didn't know. Okay, I wasn't finished. I had another question.
By the way.
Was the, you said that the person just simply did not ask at all?
Did not ask at all.
Did they appear to be familiar with the clerk, or
No, ma'am.
just a person that just walked in?
He just walked in, went, got the alcohol, put it on the counter, and she just went on with the normal transaction. There was no conversation going on between them, no type of evidence that they knew each other.
Okay. How old was the actual CI?
The CI, trying to remember his date of birth. Okay. He's born 1992. Okay, he's born 1992. So he is.
Never been good in math. Let me think.
He's
If it was 63, I would know they were 49.
okay, 20 years old.
20?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
You're young enough to...
Commissioner Williams?
Chair, I'd like to entertain a motion on this particular.
Let's make sure, are there any more questions before we consider that? That's part of our procedures. Mr. Epperson?
The compliance officer, please. When did you all last apply for your license?
So we apply in generally around the middle of October. Every year is our renewal.
Okay, so October
for locally.
2011?
Sir?
October of 2011?
You apply in October, it expires December 31st of 2011. Our next one will expire December 31st of 2012.
Okay, so...
And the state's expires September 31st of this year.
Okay, what do you have to get from us? When does it expire?
Sir?
What do you have to get from Caddo Parish? When does that one expire?
Ms. Joanne Washington will send out an application, a renewal application, generally approximately 2 months before it expires. She'll send it out around the 1st of October.
Okay, of 2011.
She sent one out 2011, yes, sir, and we renewed it. They are posted, and our next renewal, we will get a packet in the mail October.
I know, but I'm talking about the renewal in 2011. So
Yes,
you
sir.
got some new license that should have been effective, what, the 1st of January of
Yes, sir.
2012?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so those licenses come in. Was there a copy of this ordinance there? Because we made this ordinance took effect in, what, latter part of 2011, right?
No, sir, there was not. I handle all the packets. And there was,
Okay, May 9th, 2011. So there was not a...
No, sir.
Okay.
We just learned that this ordinance.
So all you
and that
got
it
back
did
were the new license? Okay. Ms. Frazier, once we put this into play, May the 9th, 2011, did we send copies? What did we do to make everyone that was entitled to be aware of this new ordinance? Did we get them copies to make sure that they knew that we had a change?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Is it published in the official journal?
Okay.
It's published in the official journal.
Well, I know, but you know, official journalists, you know how that goes. But I'm just saying something that, so we didn't do anything specific, say, to get this ordinance out individually to stores, let them know that there had been a major change in 2011.
No, sir, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Epperson. Ms. Bowman?
Well, that changes quite a bit, just hearing what Commissioner Epperson just said. Because I was interested, instead of, just rushing through to go on and vote, to hear recommendations.
Okay, well, our procedures allow everybody to ask one round of questions, and then we'll go to discussion on a remedy to this solution.
Right.
So if we can. Mr. John?
Back to the transaction, you say that when the clerk, I guess, scans the merchandise, and then they're supposed to scan or swipe the driver's license, but you can manually override the driver's license to put a date in.
You can do it either way. You should swipe the driver's license, but as everybody knows, they're magnetic stripes like credit cards. They don't always work.
Right.
So the machine or the register stops when you scan the beer, and you have to manually put in the date of birth that's on the driver's license.
Okay. Now, does it require you to swipe first before you put in a date manually?
No, I don't believe so. No.
Okay. Is there programming to make? Can you make that programming that you have to actually swipe?
I mean, you can do it, but the problem is the driver's license that don't work. People still have driver's licenses that don't have magnetic stripes on some of the older driver's license.
Okay.
And some other states don't have that.
All right. Do you also have a bar scanner?
That scans the alcohol?
That scans the driver's license too, because the back of the driver's license also has a bar scanner that you can scan that as well.
No, we don't have that.
Thanks.
Mr. Lynn?
I don't have a question at this time. I haven't heard it asked, though it's stating the obvious. I'd like to ask Mr. Wilson, if you would please, if you could get with the department that sends out the renewal for the license and make sure that every single person that received a liquor license in Caddo Parish gets a copy
certified mailed to them, so that the citizens of Caddo Parish realize that laws have taken place and that laws have changed, and that though it is common sense that you would check IDs, that at least they are informed and that it be certified. That's all, Mr. President.
Anyone who hadn't asked a question have a question at this time? I have a couple.
I think Donna has.
Yes, Donna?
I was just wondering if Deputy Pierre could give the date of the transaction. I didn't
I
hear
had that written
that.
down too. That was one of the questions I was going to ask.
February 10th. Okay.
This year?
2012.
2012, yes, ma'am.
Ms. Frazier, may I ask her what time that transaction was? You know what time?
We're looking at between 21:43 hours.
2140.
Suppose you hear anything else? No. Okay, I just have a couple of questions, Deputy, and maybe for both of you. You say you physically went into the store while your CI went and made the purchase?
Yes, sir.
You went in before or after, or
A little bit after.
a little bit after? Do you, yes, sir. Did the clerk notice you come in, or
The clerk did not notice me coming
not
in.
notice you come in? This CI is, what we doing, 20 years old?
About 20
Is it male?
Male.
Have any gray hair, anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay, just kind of, never know. I just have two more questions. How many employees do you have that's working at
65 at each location.
Okay, well, let's worry about this location right here. 65, roughly?
65, and they work 3 shifts,
3 shifts, because they're open 24 hours a day?
24 hours a day.
Was the owner on site during this transaction? Was a manager on site?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And you've had no previous violations within the last year?
Not
that we're
to my
aware of?
knowledge.
Somebody from the Sheriff's Department have answered that?
Richard Jennings, the Caddo Sheriff's Office, Youth Service Division. At Highway 1 relay station on 10, 26, and 28 of 2011, we conducted one, and Relay Station South sold that night as well, and then
10/26, 2011, you say?
10/26, yes, sir.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
And someone was, the clerk was cited, fined?
I don't know if they were fined, but they were cited.
Okay.
It's my understanding that fines have been passed out every time.
Okay. Mr. Machado, do you dispute
I
that?
have no knowledge of that, but I'll take Mr. Jennings' word for it, John, Mr. President.
Okay, so basically, this is a second offense within a 12-month period.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anyone have any brief follow-up questions on that?
At what point do they come to us? Is it after the first one, or at what point do they
At
come
any
to
time
us?
that the sheriff decides they want for us to hear it,
Okay.
obviously, because you could have come previously with the first one, correct?
Correct.
Is it customary practice? Did this one just fall through the cracks, or you just want to see if it, since it maybe was their first previous offense, to see if they do it again, or what? Can you speak to that, what policy is?
I don't know that I could speak to that. It's not my call whether we're here or not. It's only my job to oversee the operation when it goes down, and that it all goes down properly. So,
Okay, do you know whose call that is?
I would assume the boss, but I only follow orders. I'm a soldier.
Just, I understand, just asking. Mr. Machado?
I can enlighten you on that. When Sheriff Frater was the chief of police, he instituted this policy in Shreveport. There's 3 violations in a calendar year, and then they would bring it to the city council. I'm sure Ms. Bowman could speak to that. She was present at several of the hearings that I had. But the old policy by the city of Shreveport was 3 violations within a 12-month period. Of course, the sheriff can do anything he wants to, when he wants to do it, and it can be 1, 2, 3, whatever he chooses. But the Shreveport City Code of Ordinances has a particular ordinance that says 3 violations in a calendar year.
Correct. It doesn't look like our ordinances speak to that, so it's pretty much at the discretion of the sheriff. All right. Would you have anything else you care to say? No. Mr. Michelda, do you have anything else you care to say?
No, sir.
All right. Anybody have a recommendation?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion.
Mr. Williams?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, I'd like to speak on it, that we take no action at this time on this particular matter.
That we what?
Take no action on this particular.
You want to defer?
Well, do we decide to do what's in the ordinance? Because we have several things we can do.
I'm asking you, are you talking about just deferring action to a later date, or just
Delay action, I guess.
doing nothing?
Delay any action as of right now.
Until what time?
Till we get called again?
I'm just, and guess, within the rules of our ordinance, the strike 3 or the 3 time or whatever the case may
Okay, does
be.
anybody want to second that motion?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we delay action on this until a future date. Is there any discussion on the motion, Mr. Williams?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak. Please. Thank you, sir. First of all, I'd like to let the public know we're very serious in Caddo Parish about underage drinking, because we lost many lives in our nation, in our community, from drunk drivers, and also our children as well. Let me let you know I take no backseat when it comes to selling alcohol or drugs or anything to our young people. I commend the sheriff for what they do and the job that the youth service do. However, I just believe that no one should be punished for a first-time offense. When I see that the employers themselves have taken action in firing the employee who made the request at that time. They even gave him a handbook, they even gave him to school, and oftentimes the employer is not on site when transactions are being made. And then you have the ability to manually put information into the machines. It's like it's a no-win situation for the employee and the employer. But when you hire people, like they said, being a businessman, you don't know what you're hiring at the time. And we try to provide jobs for people in our community, and good-paying jobs. There's 65 jobs there. I don't think someone should lose their business behind an employee. And I think they provide a service for that area in Greenwood for people who need to buy service and gas and food and service. So, based on some of the information I heard, there's not enough evidence to move it forward that will warrant a particular fine at this time. Until we see that they develop a habit of doing these violations, then at time we should take some type of action on this particular item here. So hopefully you will know that we don't condone selling alcohol to minors, and I know you don't do as an employee, an employer. You don't condone it as well. And but I do think because of the lack of not having the ordinance, whenever they say renewals, they didn't have the right information. They don't even know what the rules and regulations are in the game. But now I think from this day forward, they would know the rules of the regulation and know the rules of the game. And at that time, we should follow the guidelines of our ordinance and whatever we recommend at that time, suspension or fine. So they can't use that again as an excuse. So hopefully we will take no action at this time. We hope that you will find good, honest employees. I know it's going to be hard to do that, and hopefully that we won't be hearing this case again in the future. But we don't never know what we hire. When we hire people, we just try to give people a chance and give them a job and provide for their families. But all the time, just think of shutting a business down behind an employee, I think is wrong. And giving them a black eye because of what some employee did, I think that is wrong too. The employee should be held more accountable, taking their license permits to sell alcohol firing them is the first step they've done. So all the things I think that should have been done, they took action themselves to ensure that they don't have a black eye on their business. And I hope that we can do the same as well.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Ms. Lynch, you have a second.
Yes, I wanted to just clarify. I'm looking at number 8 on here. It says 7 yea votes are required for adoption of any action to suspend, revoke, delay action, defer action, or fine the business. Okay? So when we say delay action, exactly what does that mean, and what does defer? What's the difference between deferring action and delaying action? And does that have to be a time certain or with some caveats, or what was our intent here? What was our intent here?
Pardon me? Are you speaking on his second?
We're trying to get.
But I have a question. I'm trying to get some clarification from you. From you.
Yes, ma'am.
On number 8.
Okay.
Where it says 7 yea votes are required for adoption of any action to suspend, revoke, delay action, defer action, or fine the business.
That's what we're going to do. Mr. Williams has a motion to delay.
But what is the difference between delaying action and deferring action? Is that basically delineated by a time certain, or are there other caveats to
He
it?
just asked for delay, and he didn't put any time on it for delay, so I have no idea what...
But is the intent, when we came up with these rules, is the intent to delay action mean...
When the committee met to, yes, I can answer, I understand your question. When the committee first met to discuss these rules, the only thing I think that we had in mind with delay was if it was a very clouded situation in which we thought we may needed to have more time for each party to gather information if they were going to challenge the findings of the Sheriff's Department. In this case, it's pretty clear cut. I just think we need to make a determination of how we dispense with this matter and move on to the next one.
Okay, and then to defer the action would be to a time certain, I guess.
Well, he could stipulate that, yes, but in this case, there's no reason to defer.
Right, I'm just want to be clear. Thank you.
Ms. Bowen, are you down?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a substitute motion since this is the first offense, to put in place the $500 fine.
Okay, let me remind you, this is the second in a 12-month calendar year.
Right.
So I think you might want to look at second offense, $750.
Then, I hate to say it, but it sends a message, and yes, I'll go with the $750.
Second.
That's been moved and seconded. All right, is there any...
I want to speak on her motion.
Pardon me?
I want to speak on
Okay, well, hang on. Ms. Bowman, would like to speak on your motion?
Yes, sir. I served on the committee. We all met several times. Surely I have nothing as far as this business is concerned. I've frequented one of them, and had a good meal there. The problem is this: if we sit back and same thing, my experience with the city, and not let people know that we are serious about what we are doing and the actions that we take here, then people will continue to keep doing whatever. Not saying that this particular group will do that, but we need to send a message that we mean business here and that we are not going along with just whether it's employees. The ultimate responsibility for any business is the owner. And the owner at this point has taken ownership in what has happened. So much so that they fired the employee. And if push comes to shove, they'll fire another one and another one. But they will take it even more seriously, and any of these businesses will, if we show them that we mean business and that we do not condone underage alcohol sales to any child. Period. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dominic?
Kind of reiterate a lot of the stuff that you said. It sounds like the relay is taking steps, and just had some employees that made some bad judgments, or intentionally, I don't know, but the law is the law, and the sheriff is taking this very, very seriously, and we need to too. based upon everything I've heard, we could do a lot worse to a business. You know, we can go forward and suspend or shut them down, and this may be considered a slap on the hand, but, you know, you guys are going to have to, you know, comply with the ordinance. And I think we're going to do better to make sure that all these businesses do have the ordinance, but the law's out there anyway, otherwise the sheriff wouldn't be out there knocking on the door. And they have made a mistake. They have admitted they made the mistake, and I think that we need to follow our ordinance, and it says a second offense within a year is $750, and I think that's what they need to pay.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Dominic. Mr. Cox?
All right, this time I'd like to make an amendment to Ms. Bowman's on top of the $750, probation till 12/31/12. And I'll speak on it if you...
I don't hear a second for that motion. Sorry.
It'll come up again.
Hang on, Mr. Williams, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Remind everybody, please be to the point and be brief. We got a lot of these.
Chairman, I too want to send a message loud and clear to employers that don't play by the rules and by the ordinance of the parish, Parish of Caddo. However, I do not feel at this time, based on the evidence before us, that the information they received, they didn't have the information, they didn't have the ordinance at hand. And here again, we can't put $1 million operation in the hands of employees because the mistake the employee made. It's unfair to the employer to punish him and shed his bid. I'm talking about $1 million operation and put it in the hands of an employee and say, well, because you did this, you need to be fined for that. Now, I believe they came before us again. We should take significant steps to, within the guidelines of the ordinance, to reprimand, suspend, or fine. But at this time, this does not warrant a $500 or $750 fine at this time. Like I said, nobody wants underage drinking in Caddo Parish or in the city of Shreveport or in America. We know the deadly side of what alcohol does to our country. And like I said, I commend the sheriff and the officers what they do. However, these employees shouldn't be in the business of deciding the future and the fate of millions and million dollars operation. They provide tax base to our community. They provide jobs for people that buy goods and services in our community. To do that, we're losing revenues as well. If you shut down every business that came before because the employees sold alcohol to an underage person, we're going to have no relay station in Caddo Parish. They'll all be out of business. So you got to look at the tax revenue, you got to look at the jobs you're going to lose, and what you going to say to those people when they lose their license? We don't have a job. We don't have jobs now. You going to shut down jobs? You know what you going to say to those people when they lose their job? It's only some of the jobs that people have. They can lose their ABO cards. Those are the things we shouldn't be doing. If they had a reputation, a history of coming down and selling, then we shut them down. But there won't be no strike 1 year out, giving them a black eye with $500 fine. I know that ain't a lot of money to them, but I think it's unfair to the employer based on the evidence presented before us today. They didn't have a copy of the ordinance. They took steps to the measure, and they got rid of the employee. They took steps to try to make things better. So I hope that my motion to delay any action at this time, I won't be the same the next time they come down here. So I hope we will vote on my motion to delay any action at this time. And Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay, as a point of information, all we did when we introduced these new ordinances basically was tweak our existing ordinance. It has always been against the law to sell alcohol to a minor. So, just because the ordinances were tweaked and updated and they maybe didn't have them, you know, the violation is still the same. Nothing changed. It was still illegal. We're not talking about shutting a business down here either. We're just talking about following the letter of the law. We could do a lot worse. We could suspend them. We could do as Mr. Cox would like to do, put them on probation, double secret probation, whatever you want to call it. You know, we could revoke. But that's not what we're talking about. And I'm with Mr. Dominic. They've made a good faith effort to do everything, it seems, within reason to protect themselves. Employee's gone. But, you know, how do we say for this business versus another one who has a similar problem with employees, and you never know what's in somebody's mind? This is a thing for you, and this is not. This is not an egregious violation. They've admitted it. I just think we need to follow the ordinances that we carefully studied and wrote in cooperation with the Sheriff's Department last year and be done with it. Okay, next, Mr. Johnson.
You took most of my stuff
Pardon me?
I was going to say. You took most of the stuff I was going to actually say. But basically what I was going to say is that minimum age is 21, regardless if they have this posted or not. It's still the law. I would say that we do follow what the ordinance says is the $750 for the second offense. I am in favor of that. I mean, this operation is only a snapshot. So basically, if you look at what's happening 365 days out the year, there's some more that's going on. So if this snapshot showed nothing, then I would say that probably they wouldn't be here. But this one case showed that they did do it, and it's twice in 1 year. So I support the $750 second offense.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Epperson.
Call for the question on the motion.
Question's been called for. The motion is seconded. Let's vote to call for the question, please. All right, vote, please. Question's been called for. We'll vote on the substitute motion first, and that is $750 fine for second offense and nothing else. Vote on that motion, please. The motion passes. All right. I got it down. $750 fine. Please go forth. Wish you luck.
The next one.
All right, we'll go ahead and proceed with the other relay station, please. Relay station, that would be
We'll make the same
79 Greenwood Road.
that we have no objection to the introduction of the documents and that the violation occurred. We're going to make the same argument, and I'll defer to the deputy on this.
Okay. Hello, Deputy.
How you doing? Detective Jared Marshall, Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office, Youth Services Division. On February 10th, 2012, we conducted the underage alcohol sales in Caddo Parish, and we went by 9110 Highway 79 in Greenwood. That is the relay station. I want the business, the CI, confidential informant, entered the business, and I followed in right behind him. Positioned myself where I could watch him make the buy. He did approach the counter with a 6-pack of Michelob Ultra. The cashier was Shonda Anderson, sold the CI the alcohol, did not ask for the CI's driver's license. Exited the business, and the deputy waiting outside, Corporal Williams, told him about the sale, and he went in and issued the summons.
In an effort to expedite this, I'll go ahead. Is this when was the, did they have any previous offenses?
Richard Jennings again.
Yes, sir.
11/23 of 2010.
11/23, 2010.
Shouldn't count 2010.
Okay, so that year passed. This is the first offense. This is basically first offense. Anything else the Sheriff's Department would like to add? Mr. Machado?
I would just like to know the date of the transaction and the time.
The date was February 10th, 2012, and the time was 21:35.
Mr. Escudé, we don't have any additional evidence or any additional argument. I'd ask that the argument we made in the previous case be made part of this record to save time.
Very well. Thank you. Sheriff's Department have anything else?
Scott Hall, Caddo Sheriff's Office. One thing I'd like to say to the group is understand that the deputies, when we go into the businesses, we have nothing in this game other than to make sure that underage people are not getting alcohol. That's the goal, and to enforce that law. When it's all supervised and it's watched, if the clerk asks for the ID, they present their own, that CI's ID is shown. The clerks will not ask, it seems like, and all they have to do is ask, check for the ID, swipe the card. Every time we run these operations, we have arrests made. There's only been one occasion where there's been one arrest. It's always 5, 6, 7 times we make arrest. So I'm just say it's just not the relay station, it's across the board, so the actions that's being taken is appreciated on the sheriff's office part.
Thank you. Ms. Lynch?
Was this the same CI as the other? I'm sorry.
Pardon me. I'm sorry. I didn't catch it. Mr. Thibodeau, he's using my name because he said my C. Yeah, that's right. Okay, well.
You have to start jumping up and down, Mike.
I'm sorry, Mike. I'm not much of a jumper.
John, you changed.
I want to make a motion to, that we find as a first offense $500.
Second. Second. We moved and seconded that we implement a first offense fine in this matter. Mr. Thibodeau, you made the motion, discussion?
I would only be editorial farther, so.
Very good. Who made the second? Mr. Cox?
Well, one of them did.
Mr. Lind, either one of you care to speak?
No.
Anybody else? Mr. Dominic?
Got one question. When the deputies go in there, and I think we reiterated this, and just say that, we don't want to shut a business down, but alcohol being sold to minors can take a very serious offense and someone getting killed, drinking and driving, and I know that's, I've had conversations with the sheriff.
Yes, sir.
So it's a very serious thing, and we need to all take this serious.
Yes, sir.
The one question I got, when y'all go in there to observe the CI, are y'all in your uniforms to see that,
No, we have, the CI and the undercover officer are in street clothes.
Okay.
A uniformed officer is down the street waiting.
Right.
Once the sale has been made, they exit the store and notify the oncoming officer, the uniformed officer, and he goes in and actually issues the summons.
I understand. I remember seeing it on the news, but I know like this, obviously you witnessed it. I was saying surely they didn't sell that with a deputy in his clothes. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. Okay, I have nothing else. I'm for your motion, so good to go.
Commissioner Lynch?
I just wanted to know, was this the same guy, same CI as the other stores? Just curious.
No, ma'am. We run two different teams each operation, so we have two different CIs. In this particular case, 79 and Greenwood and Highway 1 were two different CIs.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Williams?
Chair, I want to, just for the record, be perfectly clear. I'm totally message loud and clear that we don't want alcohol sale not only sold to children, but we don't want people drinking and driving on our streets. I think I take this matter very, very serious. I have a passion for children, young people in our community. My thing is to be fair and impartial when I make my decisions on this particular matter. Based on the evidence I heard, it doesn't warrant fines at this time. Lack of information, lack of the evidence, lack of the ordinance, and the employer did take action within themselves to send a message to us that they're concerned as well. Here again, there's no way you can monitor the employee based on what I heard on the information in the machine. You can manually change anything. Here again, I think it's unfair to hold an employer a million and $1 million operation based on what a employee do. So hopefully we don't get to make a knee-jerk reaction because of what an employee does. Nobody wants alcohol being sold to children. Nobody in America. And I know employers don't, because it affects their operation and their business. They don't want to see their business go down because a lot of these things can strategically be done and targeted to these employers as well. Let's be real here. And you can easily get 3 violations within that time frame, then we'll talk about shutting down. So it's not unusual to go into an operation with three violations, and we'll be back talking about closing down and suspending. Let's be real clear how these things are strategically done, which affects the operation of the entire employer's business. But here again, we're here to talk about...
David, how much alcohol do you have?
Here we're talking about selling alcohol to underage drinking, to children, and I do feel that based on what I said, the information doesn't warrant fines at this time. I think we should, again, delay any action. If they come before us again, then we start the process of fining and revocating those things. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thanks for being brief. I was fixing to get out the egg timer. I will give you one more point of information that, and we're happy to have you with us, but the 11 remaining members of this body went through these new procedures and this new structure with the Sheriff's Department in great study and great depth, and voted and passed this unanimously. So if, after these hearings, if you should see some flaws or egregious flaws in it that you think we need to take up in committee to restructure it, then you feel free to do so. Thank you. All right, is any more discussion on the motion? Being none, let's vote on the motion, please. First offense fine. Okay, that motion passes. Relay station, first offense fine for that on Highway 79 Greenwood. Is that all for the relay station?
Yes, thank you for your time and your consideration. And when would that fine be due?
Today. You got to pay it before you
Ms.
leave.
Frazier, what's the process?
You'll have to go get
Take you through the process.
You will need to send a money order to our finance department. Commissioners, you all do not have a fine, so 30 days, within 30 days.
Within 30 days, two separate...
one for each of
You're going to send them an official notice?
Yes, we can
Thank
do
you.
that.
Certified, like what you said.
Thank you again.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, next case, Bayou Lafourche Country Club.
Ollie Edens.
Hello, Miss Evans, how are you?
7925 Highway 2, Vivian, Louisiana.
Okay, Sheriff's Department. You just stay right there, Miss Evans, and how you doing today?
Now the attorneys is going a little quick.
Yeah.
You think?
Detective Judge Marshall again. On February 10th, 2012, he conducted underage alcohol sales in Caddo Parish, and we went to 7931 Halston Vivian Road, located in Vivian, Louisiana. While at the business, myself and the CI entered the bar. We asked for a 12-ounce bottle of Budweiser. The cashier, Holly Evans, sold the alcohol and did not ask for the CI's driver's license. Exited the business and told the deputy waiting that we had made the buy. Exited out, he came in and issued the summons.
Because you and the CI were in the room?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This was a...
Miss Evans was the one who served him?
She was the one who finalized the transaction.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
Miss Evans, tell us what happened, dear.
Okay, the young man that was in the bar had trouble with the cash register. I wasn't in the bar, he called me. And I came into the bar to straighten the problem up with the cash register. And the young man asked me, are you the one that can handle the cash register? I said, yes. He said, let me pay you so we can go. And that was it. I didn't ask the person if they had checked the ID before service.
Okay, you didn't ask your employee whether he had checked it, you assumed he already had?
Right, exactly.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
So who actually was fined? Was it you or the employee? Who got the fine?
I got the fine.
Sorry.
Hang on a second. Mr. Cox.
To outline some questions, if they can, when the sheriff's department comes up, can they tell us if that's a first or second offense within a year when they give out their information to make it a little bit quicker?
Is this first offense, second? Any prior offenses? No?
Okay. Okay, second question is basically, so you're not saying that, or you are saying that you didn't understand the transaction, that it wasn't complete when you took it over?
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Lynch?
Who was actually fined? Was it her or was it the other guy?
She was the business.
Okay, so you watched all of this go down? So is it as she's saying, or were you, okay, thank you.
Okay, who served the gentleman
Who sold it?
Deputy, who actually served
Well,
your CI?
as we went in, like she said, there was a problem with the register.
Right.
I'm not sure the gentleman's name that had given us the beer initially, but we waited for 25, 30 minutes before somebody came that could know how to operate the register, and she showed up. She was able to get the register open, and she made the final payment of the cash of the transaction. Me being unsure about who needed to be issued the summons, I questioned my supervisor and asked him, since this guy gave us the beer, but he didn't take the money, she took the money, who needs to get the summons? And so he said, the person that made the final transaction of money. So whoever took the money and gave us the change, that's the person who gets the summons.
Okay, we got a lot of gray area here.
But again, there was no ID check.
I understand the law is probably specific and all, but I understand.
If I can speak just a second. Sure. Sam Hall with Sheriff's Office. It is still, anytime a transaction is taking place for alcohol beverages to be sold, that person should check. When she came in, she should have asked. If she didn't ask when she got there, she should have checked when she got there. She has her clerk there who's started the transaction. When she then took the money, that transaction should have been verified with an ID. We checked with the clerk at that time that, hey, did you check for the ID? Again, we're back to this whole thing about we're wanting the clerks, the business person, whoever's handling it, to check for the ID. We've stressed that over and over. Just ask. And that will clear up the whole problem, that they won't ask for the ID.
Okay, well, in this case, we have the person that collected the money is different from the person that served the beverage. That's what makes this a little different, is it not? Is it not correct? Those are the circumstances?
Well, again,
Yes, that's a yes or no. Did Miss Edens give the beverage to this young man or young lady? The employee did, but she collected the money. Okay, this is different than the other two previous cases. The law may be the same, but the circumstances of what happened are different. And that's just all I want to understand and have clear in my mind.
If I can just interject that when the CI goes into the store, takes a 12-pack out of the refrigerator, out of the freezer, puts it up on the counter of the store, that clerk that's behind that counter does not give that alcohol to the person. They make the transaction of the sale.
This is a bar, this is a lounge, and I actually know where it is. It's a very rural location. It's usually an older clientele. It's a different circumstance. It's a different circumstance. I don't think, and there's another thing here too. It seems like in the two other cases we had an intent, specific intent almost either not to check or just not to do their job. This is a little bit different. Mr. Dominic.
A couple things you hit on. This is a lounge or a bar, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what happened. The guy came in and purchased a beer. Is that what it was?
Yes, sir.
All right, was he sitting at the bar drinking it, or?
No, sir. We don't open the beer.
Would he sit there 25 or 30 minutes? Did he sit there 25 or 30 minutes before he did anything?
When the beer was given to us by the guy, it sat in front of us unopened, and we stayed there until we could get somebody to open the register.
Out of drink.
The beer sat there on the counter. I'll sit next to the CI, and we sat there until somebody come over.
Y'all sitting at the bar area, or how's that? So y'all just sat there and didn't open up the beer? Was a beer with a bottle beer with the top, or
yeah,
was it a can?
Can they move to the mic, please, so we can pick all this up? Yeah, it was a cap, had a cap.
Okay. So y'all just sit there like chit-chatting until Miss Eden comes in there and rings y'all up?
Yes, sir.
And when she rang it up, that's when, I guess, y'all instituted the summons at that time.
Right. Well, we had determined that there was probable cause for an arrest, and we let the deputy know.
Miss Edens, are you the owner, or are you the manager, or what's your relationship?
I'm the owner.
Okay. And this is the first time that they've been cited?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Epperson?
I'd like to make a motion that no action be taken, but a stern warning be issued to Mrs. Etten that in the future, that irrespective to the situation, that they would properly check for ID. If I might get a second.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we just go ahead and ask Ms. Edens to let me be very careful in the future. Would you care to speak on that?
No,
Mr.
sir.
Epperson? Mr. Williams?
Care to vote.
Mr. Chairman, I think the question has been raised here, the just ask. Like it's don't ask, and just ask need to be a message to all the entities up here today. It appears that there are a lot of don't ask, but if you just ask, we would be having this discussion today. So I hope that what you hear and that you send your message out to your employees, if you just ask, you wouldn't be before us. If you just ask, because they got to have an ID. And then if you don't have the machine or the technology, regardless, they don't have to go in the machine to change or amend anything. So I think the message that we leave it to be just ask. And I think that would do a lot of trying to protect the integrity of your business. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, before we vote on the motion, I'm going to support Mr. Epperson's motion, and there's some unusual circumstances here, and, you know, but anyway, ask you to support it. Vote, please. That passes. Ms. Edens, please go behave.
I'd like to tell you I've purchased an ID scanner now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be glad to have it, but I'm old enough.
All right, thank you.
You'll ruin your business's reputation if you let him in there. I'm just warning you.
She did okay.
Next, we have the sheriff. Would you present the case for John Henry's first and last place?
Wow.
Okay. On February 10th, 2012, took part in the underage alcohol sale operation. We drove to 11650 Highway 80 in Greenwood, Louisiana. This is a drive-through. While at the drive-through, I witnessed the CI purchase 2 12-ounce cans of Bud Light from the cashier. The cashier, Marquia Lester, asked the CI for his driver's license. The CI did present the driver's license to the cashier. The cashier looked at it, but sold the CI the alcohol anyway. Rest of the business told the waiting officer that the transaction was made, and he issued the summons.
Okay, ma'am. Was this a first offense?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Name and address. Name, please.
I'm Arlene Jones. I manage John Henry's First and Last Chance. It's not place, but anyway, Quita, I call her Quita. She's an employee of mine, and she called me right after she got the summons, and she told me that, you know, she had made a mistake, and she did sell it, and she was given a ticket. She looked at the ID, and in her mind, she calculated the date of birth. The year was correct, the month was wrong, and she made a mistake. And we do card people. I just wanted to tell you, we do card people, and we've never had this problem before, and we apologize.
All right. You have anything else to say at this time?
No.
Detective? Okay. Any questions? Mr. Epperson?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the first time offender be fined $500.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Epperson, would you like to speak on your motion?
No, sir.
Commissioner Williams? Anyone else want to speak on this motion? All right. Just vote, please.
Me over here, can you?
That's what it'll be. First offense, $500 fine. Thank you. All right. Next, we'll go to the Derrick Express case. Detective?
Before he gives you the
the rundown of this last time the Derrick sold 10/26/2011.
Okay, how many offenses are we looking at in the
We're
last
looking
12
at-
months?
2011 twice, and then February 10th of 2012, so 3.
Of 2011, what month?
October.
October. And twice in October? Twice in October?
Once in October 2011, and then December of 2011.
And when? Recently?
And February of this year.
That's 3 offenses. Okay.
I think that one thing that, she basically said a while ago and I guess she's going to bring it up, that Derrick Express is what's being cited today. The one that was before was the Derrick store.
Right.
Totally different corporation, totally different licensure, everything.
Different owners?
Totally different owner, totally different address.
Okay, so Derrick Express then, let's clarify this before we get started. How many complaints in the last 12 months, Derrick Express? Do you see the difference in the 2 company structures there in your report?
No, not in this report, I don't see the difference. She is correct, there is a Derrick Express and a Derrick. They are located on the same property. I mean, they're joined together, they're not separated in location. They do have
one's a convenience store and the other
one's a convenience store and one's a lounge. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we need to decide, what are we talking about here? The lounge or the convenience store?
We're talking about the lounge on this night.
Okay, how many offenses?
Then I can only show one.
One on the lounge. Okay, so we're talking about one on the lounge.
Unless you have different information.
Just make sure before we proceed.
That's the one that's before us today on the lounge?
Yes, ma'am.
226, okay. I mean, sorry, 210.
So just once.
Once
so we're going with first offense on the lounge. Okay, Detective, please.
On February 10th, 2012, took part in an underage alcohol sale operation in Caddo Parish. Myself and the CI entered the Derrick at 6782 Colquitt Road in Keithville, Louisiana. While at the business, I witnessed the CI approach the bar and purchase a 12-ounce bottle of Bud Light. The seller, the seller of the alcohol opened the Bud Light for us and handed it to myself and the CI. The cashier, Joyce Gast, sold the CI the alcohol and did not ask for any identification. Exited the business and informed the waiting deputy, and he issued the summons.
So this same person that served him collected from him?
That's correct.
Okay. Anything else? Ladies? Names, please.
Veronica Brown. Not Norman.
Okay.
And I'm here, I work for the town of Greenwood, and Sonia's a resident of Greenwood, and she asked me to come with her. She has a speech impediment, so she wanted me to come just to make sure that everything that she stated on the record, you guys could understand. Initially, she wants you to understand that she's aware of the offense, and she knows that they did violate the ordinance.
Get closer to the microphone.
I'm sorry. And it is their first offense. She's been open for 11 years, same location, and has never had any offenses. The server that night, Ms. Joyce she's 73, she's been a bartender for over 25 years. She's never been cited. Now, she did suspend her for 2 weeks with no pay, but she didn't terminate her because she didn't have anything in place, and plus Ms. Joyce has not she hasn't had her hearing yet. She's going to receive some type of letter, and she'll go through her due process. So she hasn't even been cited. She doesn't know what her fine's going to be.
The server was 73. I just want to get you correct. Okay.
And she's been bartending for over 25 years, and she's never been cited. She's never had any tickets. She has implemented a procedure that regardless of circumstances going forward, they will be terminated, but she didn't do that to this employee because there was nothing, she didn't have anything in place at that time.
Okay. Commissioner Dominic?
Ms. Brown, what's your name? I'm sorry.
Mine, Sonia Norman.
Sonia Norman.
She's the owner.
I'm the owner. You're the owner of the Derrick Express.
Mm-hmm.
It's my understanding that Express is at one site, and right next to it is the convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
And the Derrick Express, are y'all incorporated, or that's just how y'all do
Yeah,
business?
incorporated,
You're incorporated?
yes,
Do you have anything to do with the Derrick store?
sort of.
Sort
My
of.
husband,
Okay, so your husband owns the Derrick store,
uh-huh,
okay?
and I own the bar.
Okay, and you are the sole corporate owner of the Express?
Mhm.
And he's the sole corporate owner of the store?
Yes,
And you run the Express?
yes,
Okay, and this is the first time that site has been cited?
yes.
Okay. And how long have y'all been open there?
11 years.
And this is the first time you've been cited in 11
Yes.
years? And did you ask the employees, why did she sell it why did she sell it? What was her reason behind she selling it to an underage? Did she just not check it, or what did she do?
She just didn't check it,
Does she normally check it?
yes,
So normally your employees are supposed to check?
yes. Normally, they check IDs constantly.
Ms. Brown, what is your relationship? You just say you're a resident of Greenwood?
No, I work for the town of Greenwood. She's a resident.
Oh, you work for the town of Greenwood? What do you do there?
Town clerk.
Okay.
Collects the money.
Okay, you're the clerk for the town, and you're just kind of
And
here.
she's, right,
More
there's a
support.
friend with her, correct.
They're a friend of the
Well,
town?
she didn't know what I was going to ask her, and she was going to have to speak a lot.
I got you. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Williams?
Hang on.
You're not done?
No, I'm done. They're walking off. I don't want to go sit down.
Okay, Ms. Lynch?
Man, I need to get out more often because I don't know where any of these places are. Let me be clear too, on the the lounge versus the convenience store from the sheriff's department. At first you said there were 2 prior offenses. Was that the lounge or the convenience store?
We're showing the convenience store
On the 2 prior.
on 2 priors.
Okay, was there anything before that? Because you look like there may have been some other stuff.
Well, I can't show it in my record because I've only been sergeant over since.
Come up to the mic, please.
I can't, it wouldn't be in the calendar year anyway, and that's obviously what y'all are looking for.
Interested in what?
Right,
the
but
history
at some
is.
point back when I was the undercover officer, we bought from the Express. They're saying that it's never happened before, but I cannot show you records, so
Say
regardless, it's not going to
lounge?
be, from the lounge, yes, from the
Oh.
Express, but it's not going to be in the calendar year, so,
Right, okay, I understand. I just wanted
so
to.
it's a moot point at this.
And if you bought, then an employee was cited, correct?
Yes, sir. But we've been doing these for some years, and my records,
Well, I think that it'd be important to know for in the future as we hear these, our calendar year purposes is based basically on determining what action we're going to take. But I think a history, if you certainly...
This is my first...
Right, I'm just letting you know for the future, but if we had someone who has a consistent pattern of doing this, then that's certainly germane and needs to be considered. I don't believe that's the case in this case, but...
I've been the sergeant over this now since August of 2011.
Well, step it up, buddy.
And you can rest assured in the future that you will have everything you need. This is my first time here.
Thank you.
Thank you, that was it.
Okay, Mr. Lim?
I want to commend the town of Greenwood for coming out on behalf of its business owners, and so I want you to know, as a business owner, I would like to see my city come behind me just as well. So thank you so much for coming out on our behalf. That's all, Mr. President.
Visiting in Greenwood.
I
move that first offense, even though it is your first offense, you'll be fined $500.
Second. Moved and seconded that we impose first offender fine. Is there any discussion on that motion?
Who made the second, sir?
Okay. All right, vote on the motion, please. Okay, that's what it is, first offender. Thank you. Good luck. Last case. Triple JJJ Travel Plaza.
I think we have a no-show.
We have a no-show?
Maximum fine? No.
Okay, detective?
Just for today.
They're not here.
Like drinking there and then them did. Drinking over there.
On February the 10th, 2012, I took part in the energy alcohol sale in Caddo Parish. I
Myself and the CI entered the Triple J truck stop at 8311 Spring Ridge, Texas Line, State Road in Keithville, Louisiana. While at the business, the CI entered the business. I followed behind him. Witnessed the CI approach the counter with a 24-ounce bottle of Bud Light. The cashier, L.R.B. Havar, sold the CI the alcohol, did not ask for the CI's driver's license. Exited the business and informed the deputy of the sale, and he went in and issued
Any prior offenses on record?
Yes, they sold in our last three operations.
Last three?
The last three operations we've had, they sold 10/26 of 2011, they sold 12/23 of 2011, and 2/10 of 2012.
I can't believe that they're not present. Do you have any knowledge of before that, prior to your tenure, Sergeant?
Yes, sir, we made buys there. Again, I wasn't keeping the records. I was working as the undercover officer. I couldn't give you dates.
They have an ongoing problem, you
Yes, sir,
believe?
but these three I can attest to. These three are in...
Have they changed ownership anytime recently that you might know of?
No, sir, not that I know of, not that I can speak to.
Okay. Mr. Dominic?
Well, and this most recent one happened on February 10th of 2012?
No. Yeah, February, the last one, yeah.
The most recent one happened?
10/12.
2/10/12.
And was it a bar or a convenience store?
It's a convenience store.
And I guess the next question maybe is to Todd. Is Todd here?
He stepped out. He's going to get the certifications of office.
That was my question. Do we have anything because we need to put something on record that these people were notified and how they were notified to be here?
Certified letter.
Huh?
It was sent by certified letter.
Do we have anything, we have a return?
Yes, everyone signed except one.
But the Triple J Plaza did.
And that's what she's going after, yes.
And you have a copy of the letter, I guess it tells them to be here today at the...
Yes.
I'd like to see it if you can.
Anything else?
No, that was the only question. I just want to make sure they did have notice. We need to put this on record.
I just wanted to clarify too that on those dates that I stated to you, those were our operations that we run. Those were actual dates of our underage buy operations. You know, on 10/26/2011, and then 12/23 of 2011, and 2/10/2000. Those are three different operations.
They were consecutive.
Yeah. There was no skip. That was three operations in a row that they bought.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Dominic, anything else?
Who'd you say the person that was cited there was?
I don't know if I can pronounce it right. L.R.B. Javar. Javar. Javier.
Anything else, Jeff?
And I guess this notice just was sent to the business address.
They signed for it.
Don't matter.
Probably knew what to expect.
Yes.
Okay, guys, let's get together. What are we going to do? You done? Mr. Cox?
Pulling this up on my map, explain to me where this place is. I mean, because I've been around Keithville, so.
It is Colquitt Road and 169.
So is that at Four Corners?
Four Corners.
Okay, I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah, Four Corners. And if I remember correctly, the deputy that went in to issue this summons, the reason that this probably went to the business, was mailed to the business instead of the I believe that he didn't have a driver's license with him that night. He was questioned as to what his address was, and all he could say was, I live in some apartments, and I'm not sure of the address. So the store owner was questioned, this is your employee, help us out, give us some, because this affects you, give us some record of where he lives. I mean, surely, there in the store they had records of his address. She said, well, I don't know, just use the store address. So that's why if it was mailed to the store, that's the reason for it, is that they were uncooperative in providing an address for him. He said he had no driver's license on him, and he could have, being that he was being arrested and he had no form of ID and no way to prove for sure that he would show up in court, we could have booked him, but we chose not to go that route, and so the store owner stepped up and said, you can mail it here, so I feel that they...
Okay, that's Bill Jones, store owner?
I'm not positive about that. I just know that...
That's the only we have on record. That's the only we have on record.
Okay. My uniformed officer went in, and I just remember that scenario. I remember how it went down, because they called and let me know of any problems.
Because if you're going through that intersection, theirs is over to the left.
It's over to the left, yes, sir.
Don't they have like a little bar on the other side?
I don't know if that's connected to them. We don't...
It's all under one roof.
But we don't go in that one.
Okay.
It was not sold there. It was sold in the convenience store that faces Spring Ridge, Texas State Line Road, which, after you pass the intersection, it's no longer a Colquitt.
Right.
It's Spring Ridge, Texas State Line.
And it's my recollection, when we went into business, there was no bar attached to the...
Yeah, no, you got to
go around the side.
We go around to the side.
We never do buying those.
Okay. All right. Point of information, what is the fine for a three-term,
Up to $1,000.
It's $1,000, but I think possibly,
revoke?
Pardon me?
Is there any?
I would not want to revoke or suspend without having the business owner present. I'm thinking that we may want to defer this to a later date, give them a chance to come in. Also, I'd like to have the Sheriff's Department garner more information or more history of this. We may have a very serious, egregious offender here.
Yeah.
Or we could just do anything, but I certainly would not want to suspend or revoke without hearing the background. But if they're serious, but that's at the pleasure of this body.
Well, and just to make a final comment here, to have 3 within this period of time, I think that if the owner knows that their employee was cited that night, owner, management, or whoever was there trying to...
Yes, sir. I would like to clarify. I appreciate what you're saying. I'm using the word owner,
yes,
but I want to clarify it could be manager. It could be the person in charge. I don't want to put that on the owner. He could be a little rabbit Australia.
I'll put it to you like this. One of my drivers gets a ticket, or one of my drivers tears my truck up, I'm going to know about it because I'm the manager of that terminal. Same thing with this manager, owner, or whoever. If they come in and cite a person at their business, and it's been since February, they should know about it.
Yes, sir.
They should be here. I'm not looking light on this, simply because the other ones, okay, first offense, second offense, third offense, within this amount of time, they don't show up. I call that a slap in the face of Caddo Parish. I call that, and Colquitt Road being what Colquitt Road is. Mr. Smith knows about this, and I know we don't want to get off on a personal skyjack here, but that's a dangerous road. You sell alcohol to kids on Colquitt Road, you are asking for nothing but trouble. I'll go along with the board, but if it was up to me right now, I would vote to revoke their license today. But I'd rather the owner be here and me do it in person. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll fix to go to Mr. Smith, but you bring up two good points. One is, we assume Mr. Smith is the owner.
Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones, I'm just putting it. Mr. Smith. Put the glass back on the revenue.
It's me.
Mr. Jones, we assume Mr. Jones is the owner until we verify that with the occupational license department, or something. You know, so we assume he's the owner, and we assume that he actually got that registered letter. You know, so I would hate to make a determination on an assumption that's serious. I do agree with Mr. Cox. This could be a very serious violator, but I want to make sure that, you know, we're not doing an injustice. Mr. Smith?
Well, for one, on the registered letter, it's to Mr. Jones, but signed by this other somebody. Couldn't read it. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but word is on the road down the street there that Mr. Jones sold that place now. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But in the gentleman whose name is signed, I think is the word that I heard bought it now. Again, I cannot verify that.
Okay.
Street talk.
Mr. Hopkins, can you shed some light?
Mr. Escudero, each one of these business owners were sent what we got. I got off the occupation license from upstairs, and that went to that address. So each one of these letters that were received did come from the occupation license.
Very good. Answers one question. But whether or not this business owner actually received this certified, it could have been the employee who was cited. And anyway, it's just speculation. Is that all, Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Eckers? I'm sorry, yeah. I know we look alike, but, you know.
You said that.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to impose a fine of $1,000.
Second.
How much?
Of $1,000?
$1,000.
We have it by Mr. Williams and seconded by whom? Mr. Epperson?
What happens if they don't pay?
Would you like to speak on your
Yes,
motion?
sir. Like Mr. Cox said, for them not even to have enough courage to come down and defend themselves, I think is wrong. Secondly, we see a pattern here, one time, two times, three times. This is strike three. Now, strike three, based on in our ordinance, section 461.1 says, one 500, 750, the other one is 1,000. I think we are being a little liberal, even imposing a $1,000 fine. What I see is a pattern of neglect, selling alcohol not only just to children, to people. Carker Road, like he said, is one of the most dangerous roads in Caddo Parish. And for those reasons, I would, if it was left up to me today, I'm like him. I mean, that ratification and suspension even sound even better. So because they're not here, I don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction without having some type of documentation or even had an opportunity to speak to the owners or owners, however it may come about. But I think the third offense is a little liberal here, and $1,000 would be what I recommend.
Thank you. Mr. Epperson, you seconded the motion?
No, sir. No
speaking?
No speaking.
Let's clear the board and get in line. Anybody else would like to speak on this motion? Me? Okay, let everybody back off. Let her clear it. It's doing our dance right now.
Lynn is next.
Okay, now, hit your buttons, please.
Looking up there. It's up here.
Okay, that's going haywire, but this thing is going, okay, now we've got Bowman. Ms. Bowman?
I get to Mr. Johnson.
I would like to make a substitute motion carrying on what Commissioner Williams said with the $1,000 fine, but also adding that we immediately suspend the license until we have a second hearing to bring them here to then determine what we want to do on top of that.
Second.
That motion's been moved and seconded. Seconded by Ms. Bowman. You wanted to do, okay. Put that motion on the floor. Would you like to speak on your motion?
Yes, I think, we got the certified letter, it was signed. It doesn't depend on who, if it was an employee or whatever, they should have known about this particular meeting. They're not here. It's a pattern. There's 3 offenses within almost a quarter, 4 or 5 month period. And like I said earlier, this is only a snapshot. This is not what's going on the rest of the time of the year. So I think we have a systemic problem at this particular store. And until the owner is come, I think we should suspend the license until we can hear this side of the store.
Okay. Ms. Bowman, second.
Yes, sir. Well, it was my hope that we would do the $1,000 fine, but schedule a suspension hearing, giving them time to get here and come before this body. You see?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I accept.
Oh, he wants to suspend it now. But I mean, that's what.
That will bring them here. That will get them here.
Okay.
Okay, hold it. Okay. You done, Ms. Bowman?
Yes, sir.
Dominic?
I have nothing further.
Mr. Lynn?
They don't sign for it.
I was actually going to make the same motion that Commissioner Johnson made. One question that I have, though, is would we suspend the license today and then they are requested to be here at our next meeting, which would be Thursday? And then at that point, make a decision as to what we do.
We can word the motion any way we want.
Point of order.
I want to word the motion, yes, ma'am.
You have to have 10 days notice.
That's correct.
And so it would be suspended
Thursday
until our
wouldn't
next
be.
Tuesday meeting, until our next work session, which is 2 weeks from now?
Yes.
April 2nd, Monday, my birthday.
Right.
Ooh, okay. Nobody heard that.
I think that with that in place, if we don't know who the owner is, we will know by October the 2nd. Thank you. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so wait, we're talking on the second motion. Second motion is the $1,000 fine. Plus automatic suspension?
Right, until April 2nd, and schedule another meeting for them to
Okay,
go.
we're still discussing that motion. Anyone want to discuss that motion some more? Wait a minute. Anyone else? Okay, Michael?
My only question is, once we suspend, do we have the authority to reinstate as well?
Yes.
Reinstate at the same time?
We are according to this motion, we are suspending to a particular period of time, which will be our next work session meeting, at which time we have to take action.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I accept that in mind.
Yes, Ms. Frazier?
May I suggest that maybe you suspend it and not put a date certain on the suspension, but only of the hearing? Because if the date certain passes and they don't sign for the letter and then don't show up, if you put that on there, it'll automatically go back into effect. And I don't think that's what you're trying to achieve.
Very well. We will just suspend it until the matter is heard by this body.
Yes.
Okay, is that amendment acceptable? Okay, does anybody else want to speak on that amendment?
Starting
Immediately, or as soon as that can be implemented.
Is that how it needs to be worked? I'm good.
Well, okay. Is there any other discussion on that motion, on this, Mr. Lynn?
How is the Sheriff's Department going to...
I'm just fixing to ask them that.
Thank you.
What's your thoughts on this? This is new territory for us, about what we're doing. Do you understand what we want to do?
Yes, sir. I'm all on board, and I'm much appreciative of y'all's effort today. It's been great. The support really goes a long ways with what we do. Are you asking me my opinion on this?
I'm asking you if you're following what we're doing, and does it create any problems for you?
No, I'm all for it.
Okay, well, the motion we have is we're going to automatically fine them $1,000, and we're going to suspend their license until we can we'll give them proper notice and take up this matter again and make a determination about where we go, whether we suspend for an additional length of time or some sort of temporary revocation. If this motion passes, when we have this next hearing, what we would like is a detailed history above and beyond what you've brought us today on this business to find out whether or not they are just a flagrant, egregious offender.
We can try to go back 3 years worth? 3 years worth?
Whatever, that'd be good. Sure.
3 years worth. Sure. That's what we'll do then.
As long as it doesn't put a burden on you, make sure that it's the same ownership for that period of time. Don't bring us multiple owners because that's not germane.
Okay. So we'll work with just the most recent owner then.
Most recent owner as far back as you can go. If you can go 3 years, that'd be fine.
That's what we'll do. Thank you.
Yes, you do. I'm sorry.
I'm curious, what is going to be the process? Will you actually drive out to that business tonight and pull their license off the wall and tell them if they sell another beer until the next hearing that they are in another violation?
Well, I'll be honest with you, this is new territory for me, so I'll probably make a phone call and see what the proper way to handle that will be, but notification will come tonight in some manner.
Will you be able to give us a update on Thursday?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
So
President.
just have someone, even if it's in a memo, let us know what transpired between now and then.
Would it be possible to get something in writing today before I leave from the
Probably in the morning.
I guess you'd have to get that from the parish attorney, probably in the morning.
From the clerk.
Or from the clerk, whatever. Look, hey, the sheriff asked for this a year ago, these changes, we've accommodated them, we can't, you're gonna have to figure some of this out here on your own.
We'll work on it. We'll work with it. Thank y'all very much for y'all's effort.
Okay, Mr. Lynn?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Cox? I'm sorry, Mr. Epperson's up here first.
Yeah, Mr.
You're done, Ken?
And part of information is that don't send it out, and when we get to this part of it, let's don't send it out certified mail. Let's have the sheriff's department take it out there because, okay, but they already said scribble, we don't know who it is.
Yeah.
So if we went to this extent, let the sheriff's department
Deliver it.
be the one with a smiling face and say, here you go, Merry Christmas.
That's an excellent idea. Would that be an undue inconvenience on you?
No. Be more than happy to
We're
help.
going to do the right thing, but we'll make sure that we're dealing with the business owner and he does have the notice.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more discussion on the motion?
Mr.
Wilson?
Not on this particular motion, but I just a point of information. I did talk to Mrs. Washington earlier today when we are deliberating these issues about our process. And when there's a permit applied for here with Caddo Parish, Ms. Washington direct all the permittees to go to their website to read the ordinance. Today I told her to make sure she sent a copy of it out to everybody.
Exactly.
But she does reference them to the website. They can read that ordinance.
They don't like handing the ordinance.
All right, any other discussion on the motion? We're voting on the substitute motion.
On your motion.
The motion on the floor is to fine $1,000 and suspend effective immediately until this matter can be heard again. Everybody vote, please. That passes unanimously. Mr. Thibodeau?
Yeah, I just have one comment and a question of the sheriff on the, asking them to read it on the website. They're going to have to print a copy in order to post it. Because it just says it has to be posted.
Oh, the ordinance?
I believe it does. It
does.
Posted. Yeah. And probably the most important question tonight is, what happens to the illicit beer?
We have a pouring out party.
Oh, pouring out party.
You don't recycle it?
No, we get do take part of it for evidence, stays in the evidence room, and the rest of it is poured out.
Being no further business, deputies, we appreciate you. We're adjourned.